Alright, so I want to spend a second talking about the art of remembering. I think it's really cool. I've thought about this all my life. And today I got a song stuck in my head, for example. I like to play a game when I forget things, but I'm talking about things that I know, that I know, that I knew, but I don't know right now. But it's like on the tip of my tongue. I want to remember. I know that I used to know. It's not like I never knew. It's like I know that I used to know, but I don't know now. So I want to try to see if my subconscious still has it and that I could talk to my subconscious mind and see if I can pull it out without looking it up. And especially nowadays with the internet, a lot of people are going to just look it up. Or you can try to find the information in a book, or you can ask a friend. That's always been the case. But trying to learn how to remember what you forgot is useful. And one quick example, there was a song and it was in my head and I didn't know what it was. So I started asking myself some questions about it to try to jog, okay, how do I say, jog my memory. I want to try to remember, so I'm thinking what kind of song is it? I could hear it in my head. It was a soundtrack. It had no words. And I'm asking myself a bunch of questions, and I know that it's not from the radio. It's not pop. It's not rap. It's not country. I figured out somehow, I just kind of knew, I had this feeling that it was video game related. It was a soundtrack. It was a tune. No words. No lyrics. And I figured that it was before 2000. Sometime before that. So I was able to narrow it down, and that's the art to trying to remember something. You have to ask a bunch of questions like Mr. Sherlock Holmes would. As a detective, you have to consider the whole thing like a crime place, like a criminal murder investigation. You gotta ask a bunch of questions and try to get to the bottom of it, and you gotta really narrow it down slowly. You gotta start off with a bunch of brainstorming, a bunch of ideas and questions, and so that's what I was doing. I knew it was video games, and before like 1999, probably, and so I was asking myself a bunch of questions like, is it Mario, Sonic, Donkey Kong, Nintendo, Sony, Sega, Microsoft, Atari? I was, I was like trying to ask myself, what does this song sound like? What kind of vibe is it? What are you getting off of it? What kind of feeling do you get out of it? Do you think it's sort of like this, sort of like that? Can you close your eyes and try to remember? Try to associate it with some screenshots, some mental screenshots. And eventually, I think I started hearing some like special effects. Or not special effects, what am I saying? Like sound effects. Okay. Sound effects. And from the game that I was trying to remember. And then I saw like a second of like a screenshot of the game inside my mind for a second, and that's all it took for me to remember what it was. And this was like 20 minutes later, after like hearing the song on and off, and my mind kept on going to Sonic, even though I couldn't like look away. I was like trying to think, it has to be something else, and I was thinking, eventually I'm gonna have to like run through all the video games of the world. I mean, from back then, to try to remember. And why is there a moth in this room? And it's like I was gonna do that, but then I remembered. I suddenly remembered, there was this game that I got for my 9th birthday. That was back in '94, and I was really excited to get this. And the memory came, and with the memory came the name of the game. And all I had to do was like start to remember more of it. I think what happened was like as you hear this song in your head, you start to hear more and more of it, and then you start to hear other things that just so happened to be in the game that helped me see the game. I was able to see the game, and then I think that's what did it, and what got me to remember what the game was once I was able to visually see it, I was good. I'm mostly a visual person. I like to visualize things, and I'm more that than anything else. And that's the way that I do things, the way that I live life, the way that I think, the way that I like to figure things out and everything. Like, it's mostly visual. I think Michael Jordan is like that in basketball, and I think some of the best people in the world, most successful businessmen, are like that. And so the name of the game is the video game that I got for the Super Nintendo for my 9th birthday was Rival Turf, and it was good. And so one of the songs got stuck in my head, and it goes like, it's like when you're playing the game, it's after like the 3rd world, something like, it's like world number 4 or 5. It's whatever world number that is after you're in America and you go to a couple different spots in the United States, and then you jump on the helicopter and you fly to South America to fight the drug lords in like Colombia or Brazil or wherever it was. And I think that's when the music started, that music, the music that was stuck in my head, and I was able to remember. It took time, but I think that what I learned from the experience of taking the time to do that was just the understanding of my own self, my own intellect, or the way that my brain is working, the way that it connects dots. And because I'm trying to figure out the art of trying to remember things, because the more you learn how to do it, the more you can train yourself to remember or remember stuff that you've forgotten. And this is helpful for like if you want to remember like things from your past, if you need something, especially if you're like from the Nowhere Man show or Jason Bourne of the BourneIdentity and you forgot your past, or you can think of other shows or movies or books, but maybe not that crazy, but it's more like within the realm of psychology, anthropology, sociology, all of those things and more. It's like if you want to remember history, or like if you want to understand history, you probably need to start with yourself. And even if you're not you probably want to understand yourself so that you can understand who you are, who you want to be. But you want to start off with who you were so that you know who you are and who you want to be. And it's a good reference, it's a good perspective, it's a good attitude, it's a good everything. And I just wanted to take the time to do that today. I didn't take a lot of time, I was doing other things too. While I was doing that, I was multitasking. So it's not like I stopped everything that I was doing to try to remember a song. God damn it. But it's important because it's a skill, and the more you practice the skill, the better you might get. I understand there may be limitations, but nonetheless, it's something that I wanted to do, and I think it's useful for a wide variety of things. And as always, Santa stole my bike.